The show will begin in 5 minutes.
Level 7, turn left. Then turn right. The doors are closed. Do not even try. Do you hear voices in this empty hole? Do you know sounds of this afternoon? The neighbors are eating dinner. The neighbors are watching TV. The neighbors behind the walls.
The show will begin in 4 minutes. The show will begin in 3 minutes. The show will begin in 5 minutes.
Level 7, turn left. Then turn right. The door.
The show will begin in 2 minutes. The show will begin in 1 minute. And now, our feature presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, sorry about the angle on that. Okay, that's better. So what's up, everybody? It's Henry. Welcome to my live stream of consciousness. And today, we'll be following up on, or rather, I'll be giving my expanded take on today's video, which I have to pull up on my Switch's YouTube app because I forgot I had to have the apps I wanted to have running while I was before I opened OBS. But now if I close OBS, I'm going to have no other choice than to go in and I'd have to start the stream all over again, which I would rather not do. So, let me just pull up the quick little display of it. So today's video was called Why I'm Single and Genuinely Fine with It. If you watch the video, you'll have seen the article from, I think it was The Atlantic, that had the stigma around singlehood, where I went on about a paradoxical stigma around singlehood. The tagline of it was, society says you should have a partner, but you shouldn't want one. Let me just pull up what the exact wording was. Ah, here we go. The tagline was, society tells us we should have a partner, but we shouldn't want one. Now, how does that really make sense? Now, it actually reminds me of this poster at my college that had a whole list of things people should do / think or talk about. And one of them was, stop looking for love. Someone will he'll show up, or something along the lines of, it will happen naturally. So yeah, that's probably what it was all about. So I guess to expand my thoughts on it, I think that actually I need to refresh myself on what I said in that video. What's up, everyone? Today I wanted to go through this article I found on The Atlantic through Apple News Plus called The New Sorry, I have to Stigma. Adjust some audio stuff really quick. Society tells us we should have a partner, but we shouldn't want one, by Faith Hill. I want to talk about it because
I've discussed what little experience I have with this on the channel, so I thought it would be interesting to go through and see what it has to say about this complete paradox they have here. That we should have one, but not want one.
Make it make sense.
Just to be clear, today is, in many ways, the best time in American history to be single. In the 18th century, bachelors paid higher taxes and faced harsher punishments for crimes than their betrothed counterparts. A man without a
Today, that would be called discrimination.
wife, Benjamin Franklin said, is but half a man. Single women, more likely, naturally, to be seduced by the devil, were disproportionately executed for witchcraft.
Their
Over the
words, not
19th
mine.
century and into the 20th, women had limited options for employment, and banks could refuse to let them open accounts until 1974, so the choice for many of them was marriage or poverty. I even heard that in the 1950s you couldn't even check into a hotel unless you were married, whether or not you were with a spouse. Yeah, it was all the rage back then. Forgive me then if I sound ungrateful when I say this. Americans are still extremely weird about single people, but now the problem isn't just that singlehood is disparaged. Sometimes it's that singlehood is celebrated. Relentlessly, annoyingly celebrated. Let me explain. The assumption that partnership is a priority has not disappeared in this country. In 2019, when the Pew Research Center asked participants how necessary a committed romantic relationship is for a fulfilling for life, nearly 60% said it's important, and roughly 30% said it's essential. Of course they did. Couples are the ones who get +1 invites to weddings or office parties or family gatherings. They're the ones who might be able to share health insurance or sponsor each other for visas or get tax benefits. Routine life, paying rent, groceries, getting groceries, reserved hotel rooms, is often far more expensive for single people, especially single parents, who can't as easily split costs or buy in bulk. We're still living in a partnered person's world.
You know what? I just realized you can still buy in bulk if you're single. What exactly limits the ability to do that? I'd really like to know.
Actually, the partnered person's world sounds like a more recent phenomenon because before the 70s, before the sexual revolution and all that, single income households were more a thing in the 50s and think 60s. You know, mom would stay home with the kids while the dad would go off to work. Single income would cover a house, the necessities for however many kids you had, usually about 3 or 4. So the partner
Just gonna skip ahead a little.
of my adult life. I know that when you want a relationship, not having one can feel lonely.
I think you get the idea. Basically, the article went on about all the doublethink that goes into the modern perception of relationships. First, they say you shouldn't want a partner, but then they say that you should have one. Make it make sense. Now, I've had an idea for a video topic called How Single People Are Perceived in Society. Actually, three different ones. One for people in general, then one for men, and then one for women. Because it's interesting to think about. I guess have it on my mind because I've been getting those speed dating ads, and I thought about Loser Maxing's video talking about his experience going to a speed dating event, which I think is from the same company. Yeah, I'm just curious to see where else it's available. Sorry, I can't just throw it up on the screen. Basically, they operate in Austin, Baltimore, Boston, Boulder. I think that's I have no idea where Boulder is. I think Bristol's in the UK, Charlotte, North Carolina, Chicago, Connecticut, Detroit, Durham, Edinburgh, Kansas City, London, Los Angeles, Nashville. You get the idea. Sorry, I'm looking through some of my older videos as well. So, like I was saying in Sunday's stream, I thought it would be fun to go do it for the sake of having content. Meaning I would talk about it after the fact in a video or possibly as soon as I got home on a stream. Which I'm very seriously considering limiting to just Sunday nights. Because I'm experimenting, and so far that seems like the only viable night for streaming for me. Or maybe it was the way I was doing it, or maybe it was the novelty of YouTube actually deciding to show it because it was my first stream. No, it was my third stream ever, but it was the first one in a while. So yeah, another thing from the article that came up that I think I want to expand on is single celebrities seeming to be pressed to make statements about how much they love solo life, then promptly enter a relationship. Apparently the words sologamy or self-partnered are apparently things. Yeah, that's not the same thing. Either you're dating someone or you're not. And there is nothing wrong with being single. You know what? I'm going to make good on the title and say what the case for staying single is. The case is you don't have to answer to anyone else. You can just do what you want. And as one commenter said, Yeah, you're free to do what you want because people in relationships have more things that they do. Ah, here it is. The user said, I'm not saying to rush anything. I have had both and I'm single right now. It's an unimaginable feeling being with someone you know. If you are with someone you love, it's not what you are watching, it's who you are with. The first half you are complaining about waiting 2 weeks. If you are with someone, also you have a bunch more stuff to do. Friendships are also very important. There are huge benefits to being single, but it sounds like you are being isolationist. It's just as bad for a person as it is for a country. Look at North Korea. If you don't want to do something, a girlfriend should understand. Just be healthy. To which I replied, that's why I haven't abandoned the idea of having friends. I'm not an isolationist, just extremely selective. And that's the way I am. I am extremely selective about who I spend time with. Kind of like how Gus Fring was very selective about who he did business with. If you've seen Breaking Bad, you might recall Gus Fring initially refused to work with Walter White because of Jesse Pinkman having the problems he had. So I decided, eh, so I think he had a good point about that, about being selective. So I guess you could say that if we're gonna do this is the Breaking Bad character that represents me the most, Gus Fring would be mine. I wouldn't call him my literally me character. That would be more like Ryan Gosling's character from Blade Runner 2049. Or you could argue Lars from Lars and the Real Girl. But yeah, the that's just the way I prefer her to roll. Plus, I think the speed dating event that I keep getting served the ads for might actually be a good way to filter out potential matches sooner rather than later. I wouldn't even have to be like super direct, or I could still be a little vague without having to go out and be like, are you a drinker? Are you a smoker? Do you do drugs? I could just observe. I could, when it comes time to talk, I could just ask, what drink is that? And then if it's something alcoholic, I can just politely go about the conversation and then move on. And again, it would be just out of curiosity, and then down the line, I could say, I tried. I really did. Plus, this morning I watched a video about how dating events are being overrun by women while men aren't really there anymore.
many gals. I've got like
Here, I'll play it from the start.
guys have made it in and they got to just pick wherever they wanted to sit and who they wanted to start dating. And I'm alone. So many girls. Well, I know we're all like, so the guys paid to be here. That's what's weird. And there's a lot more girls than guys. So that's weird. And it's not a situation of like where you date everyone and you just say yes or no or something. And then at the end, if you both said yes to each other, you hang out later. You ask to match right away and you like give the person like your QR code and then you just like basically ask to match with them. Like the girl, they were saying like, ladies, you should initiate. Like guys love when you initiate. I'm sorry, what? And once you match with someone, you go next door and there's like an open bar and you all hang out. So they're like, we're really encouraging you to match. And I'm like, well, I'll match for an open bar, but I'm not gonna match. Like, I don't know, it just like doesn't really make any sense. But there's so many girls here, everyone's so pretty, but the vibes are a little weird.
Oh well, how come? Are the vibes maybe a bit weird because men aren't there? Yeah, sure, I can imagine the vibes are a bit weird when you pay to be at that event and meet men and they didn't show up. So now the obvious question.
Okay, I don't think that's what it would be like. But I feel like I kind of want to go out there just to see it for myself. You know? Confirm whether it's happening in my area or if it's like other parts of the country, or if this is just or if this one here from Lindsay Exworth on TikTok is an isolated incident. I mean, I've heard a lot about these speed dating events being more women than men. Some of the guys who were doing the commentary on it were a bit harsh about the reasoning. I mean, what have I got to lose at this point? Aside from the money it costs, although Skip the Small Talk has the free admissions if nobody shows up. Yeah, they have you as an understudy. Basically, it means you have to fill the space if there are a bunch of no-shows or anything like that. But hey, it's free. Of course, then there's the question of the sunk cost fallacy and timing and all that. All right, let's see
Because we know
what else
whatever
these have to
happens is
say.
men's fault. It is still men since deleted those videos.
Single girlies, protect your peace today. Protect your fucking peace and stay off the gram. Because why did I literally just wake up within 5 minutes of my eyeballs like slowly opening, go on the gram to just, do my morning scroll, the morning news, whatever? Relationship, 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 relationship. I didn't know every motherfucker had a boyfriend here. What the literal? Okay, I went on a speed dating event, so let me tell you everything I thought about it. The good, the bad, the ugly, a story time, just explain.
All right, let's see what she has to say about the speed dating experience.
If you're interested, again, the things that I liked, maybe didn't like, and just like my opinion on it. Originally, it was shown that basically you'd get there around 6 to 6:30. You'd be signing in. We had like champagne, that whole vibe, and they kept the guys and the girls like separate. Then, when it became like 6:30, we were supposed to date 20 guys at a time for like 3 minutes each, and then have like a little break in between.
I just realized that's the same one from the first video.
And then date the other 20 guys and then end it all and all get together, have a drink, take a picture, like whatever. That was how it was marketed. But what ended up happening was there ended up being a lot more girls sign up than guys. Not only that, probably ratio just off the bat, but a lot of the guys that maybe initially had signed up didn't end up showing up.
I'm going to a singles event tonight. I'm going on my own. I'm so nervous. Feel like I don't even want to go. That's how nervous I am. But I just know.
Wouldn't you be going alone if you're single? I mean, unless you have a friend go and be one of the other one. Is that really something you do? Have your friends come with you to a speed dating event like that? I mean, considering that none of the friends I reached out to ended up being able to come to the Martian at the museum. That's my code name for going to see The Martian at the Mugar Omni Theater at the Museum of Science next week. I don't know how many of them would come to the speed dating event. Anyway, let's get back to what she had to say about that.
That this is going to be a character building experience. Just thinking like, what do I say to people? Like, how do I approach people? Do I make friends first? Do I make friends with a group of girls that I have somewhere to go back to? Like,
I mean, you are there to meet men, so why not start with a
Oh wait, I just realized that Russian voice is the
group
what's
of
his
women?
name?
so I did not click with anyone at
Jokers
all.
versus the World. Yeah, I think I've seen enough of that. I think you get the idea. And it makes you wonder, why do they promote singlehood yet discriminate against it? For those of you who just tuning in, I've been following up on today's video that I published called Why I'm Single and Genuinely Fine with It, where I reacted to the article from The Atlantic about how singles are essentially discriminated against yet also put on a pedestal, sort of a back and forth. I would bring up the article here, but I messed up something with OBS and I would have to abort the stream, which I don't want to do. But TLDR, singles are essentially told that they should be happy to be single, but that they should also have a partner. Like the tagline of it said, the article, that is, society tells us we should have a partner, but we shouldn't want one. As Johnny Cochran would say, that does not make sense. It's almost as nonsensical as saying that Chewbacca lived on Endor while he's from the planet Kashyyyk, when in fact, Chewbacca doesn't live on either planet. Okay, he's originally from Kashyyyk, but he never lived on Endor. He was only there in Return of the Jedi for the Battle of Endor. During the time of the prequels, I'm pretty sure he lived on Kashyyyk, and then you could say that by Johnny Cochran's logic in the Chewbacca defense that in South Park that Chewbacca lived on the planet that the Trandoshans dumped him onto, the hunting grounds that they use in the season 3 finale of the Clone Wars. No, he doesn't live there. He was kidnapped and then just dumped there with Ahsoka and the other Jedi younglings who he teamed up with to get off the planet and get Ahsoka back to the Jedi Temple. All of which showed just how well Anakin had trained her. And cutting to Anakin's frantic searches for her really showed just how much he was attached, just how attached he'd become. But anyway, getting back on track. Yeah, the article showed all the back and forth about the double think about being single, because apparently today is the best time in American history to be single, because apparently in the 18th century, singles were taxed higher and faced harsher punishments in criminal court compared to married men. I don't know where those statistics come from. She didn't cite them, but I would not be surprised if. Honestly, you could actually argue that married people are still benefit in tax wise because they have the joint filing benefits and then child tax credits if you have children. Maybe they aren't as big as they could be, but they're there. They exist. If you are married with kids, you get some tax benefits. Could be better ones, like I was trying to explain to someone who commented on my video about why public spaces in America are actually welcoming to families. He went on this whole diatribe about all kinds of things, but the point of that video wasn't about the heavy-hitting topics. It was about smaller things like malls and restaurants and such. Like I said in that video, name one public bathroom you've ever been inside that did not have a diaper changing station. I would love to hear it. If anyone who's watching has ever been into a public restroom where there was not a diaper changing station, please let me know in the chat. You know what? Maybe I should try and track down the video that inspired this. It was from this video essayist called Ashley Embers. She does interesting stuff. All right, let me see if I can pull up the channel on here. I'll admit I've been obsessed with watching random chicken jockey reaction videos. For those of you who don't know, that's what was happening in that's the scene in the Minecraft movie that everyone's been reacting wildly to, including the one who literally brought a living, breathing chicken into a theater in Utah. I have the full video about that, my reactions to that and such coming out. I think that's tomorrow's video. Oh, no, tomorrow, uh, I think this one's gonna be a bit of a controversial one tomorrow. I won't say anything more. So yeah, here's Ashley Embers. I'm trying to track down the video where she brought up the thing. So Gen Z protected their peace. I don't think that one was it. I've been meaning to watch this Drowning in Toys one. Society's erasure of preteen culture and cutting childhood short. That was a interesting look at how the internet basically ruined childhood, which is why I said in my video. No, wait, that's the one that's coming out on Friday. I'm basically going to make the argument that people should not have access to the internet until they're adults. I won't say anything more because I don't want to spoil the video. So subscribe if you want to find out when that video drops. Well, I already gave you the date, but if you subscribe and ring the notification bell, you'll be reminded. Alright, Dangers of Manufactured Childhood Magic. Yeah, that one was interesting because we got to see the... Oh, I think this is it. How Capitalism Destroyed Community for Profit. it would take too long to pull up to find the exact timestamp. But yeah, going back to expanding on today's video. Yeah, the article that I reacted to in it basically went into all kinds of doublethink. For example, the line, "Forgive me then if I sound ungrateful when I say this. Americans are still extremely weird about single people. But now the problem isn't just that singlehood is disparaged. Sometimes it's that singlehood is celebrated. Relentlessly, annoyingly celebrated." Which I think is very paradoxical. Because they'll call you a loser if you're single. Then you can also claim to be celebrated, claiming you're focused on yourself or that you are or that you don't need a partner. Here's how I've come to look at it, as I said in I'm not even gonna bother citing which video it was that was a no, wait. I think why do I record so many videos in advance? I actually have the next week of videos uploaded and scheduled, and I recorded 2 more that I need to edit and schedule accordingly, because I always try to stay a week ahead. But I keep on, they keep blurring together after a while. Like I might have to refresh half the points on physical media being useless in 2025. Okay, I think about that quite a bit, so I can just boil it down to video games do not have the complete game on the disc or cartridge if what's on there is even playable in the first place because of updates, patches, DLC, etc. And then movies and TV, yeah, the full thing is on the disc, but you could lose them just as easily as if rights expired and a streaming service had to yank it from there, or they got rid of it for a tax write-off, like Disney with the Willow series. It's no different than scratched discs or disc rot. Please explain the difference to me. I'd really like to know. Because frankly, I don't see a difference. Yeah, I can recount off the top of my head some of my solutions to rising costs, as I said, and how I'm handling rising prices in 2025. I buy store brand and I make my own things from scratch because the raw materials can be cheaper in the long run. So as I replied to a comment on that one, I can buy a 10-pound bag of store brand flour for $6 and get way more out of it. Yeah, I mean it. I can literally get an extra a 10-pound bag of store brand flour for $6. It's because I mentioned in the video that I buy store brand food where possible. Now, I do buy name brand yeast, but that's only because the store brand one doesn't offer it in a jar, which I need so I can store it so that I can portion out what I need for either the pizza dough or the bun dough, depending on what. I made both today. So I made pizza dough this morning before I had to leave for therapy, and I let it rise while I was there. And then when I got home, I punched it down. I put it on the baking sheet, and then I topped it with the sauce, the cheese, and the pepperoni. Usually I use a cast iron pan for it, but I decided to try stretching it out to the 10-inch pizza, like the traditional 10-inch pizza pie. It turned out pretty good. I wish I'd taken a picture so I could show you. Oh well. But yeah, it's a lot cheaper in the long run than buying a store brand frozen pizza of the same size, which is a $6 or $7, I think, before any discounts, whether they have the special discounts for $2.97 each, limit 2 or 3, or anything like that. Now, the upsides not only are to being cheaper, I also they also don't have any of the preservatives that are typical for frozen food, so they aren't filled with whatever garbage RFK is going to try banning or encouraging to ban. I don't know if he can just single-handedly be like, red dyes are not allowed anymore, or you have to label them as. Sorry, his voice is really hard to mimic. But you get the idea, the whole naturally derived food coloring instead of the things that are so innocently named yellow 5, red 40. But yeah, using fresh ingredients like that, I'd say reduce your odds of those kinds of things. I don't know if you can completely avoid them 100%. I'm not like Bo Refik, who's all about eat clean, eat whole foods. I say eat what you enjoy. Try to keep the garbage to a minimum. Like, for example, I buy store and tortillas to make my daily breakfast taco, which consists of 2 eggs mixed together and then cooked on the. And sorry about the camera doing that. Cooked on the stove, and then while I do that, I microwave the sausage links that I then put in the. I then put on top of it with the serving of mozzarella cheese after I flip it over. And then I just put it on top of the tortilla. Bingo! I've got a breakfast taco. Yeah, it really helps that my parents are more than willing to share the supply of eggs that they buy because they buy 24 packs usually. My mom insists that I take from them instead of just buying my own. Which frankly wouldn't be the end of the world because I've noticed that egg prices in my area have gone down. I mean, the Star Market website listed the their store brand eggs for as low as $6.50. I think it was less when I looked at it. You'll see it in the video I have coming up on Thursday of next week. But yeah, egg prices are getting better. I remember recently my dad got a 60-pack bulk supply that lasted him, my mom, my brother, and I quite a bit longer than usual. Or it probably only felt that way because it was a 60-pack. Now, if I had that all to myself, that would last almost a month. I say almost because in addition to the 2 eggs I have every morning, I also use 1 egg every few days to make a batch of cookies for my after dinner dessert. Yesterday I made peanut butter cookies because I had to empty out a peanut butter jar. Oh, that's another way that saves. Okay, here I go. Now I'm recapping the videos, the other past videos, because why not? Buy larger containers of something and you'll get more for your value you'll get more value compared to if you just bought the smallest amount available. Like you'll get better value of Doritos for a big bag compared to one of those single serve bags. Sorry, my wrist needs a little. Probably shouldn't play around with it so much. If you didn't see the last 2 nights' streams, something feels off with my wrist. It actually felt better this morning, but now I'm just confused. I'm just glad that I can still hold a video game controller for the most part. Yeah, I've been stuck in this one level in Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. I think I'm just gonna have to circle back to it because I'm doing mirror mode because I want to get 200%. I will figure out that level 4 of K someday. But right now I have to move on to the boss fight and then worry about that another day. So anyway, what else do I want to expand on with the article that I reacted to in today's video? Oh yeah, more paradoxes that the writer presented. Describing the absence of romantic love as a lack feels regressive, but then so many people are telling me they feel they're lacking something they want very badly. Who am I to deny that sense of loss? I've been single for most of my adult life. I know that when you want a relationship, not having one can feel lonely. Feeling like you shouldn't want one just makes you lonelier. And all the polite cheeriness about singlehood, especially from partnered people in society still designed for couples, can feel disingenuous and patronizing. I think I tried getting into detail about how society is still designed for couples because it's not just that society is designed for couples, it's designed for groups. Like if you want to go out to a restaurant, they are going to prioritize seating for large groups over an individual. the times I've gone bowling on my own, I've always felt like they prioritize large groups. They care more about large groups. Or the space is supposed to be enough for large groups because large groups bring in more money. Kind of like how George Carlin said about religion and God. But he loves you. And he needs money. I remember DBDR said something about how going to the movies was really more of a group thing because it's not about what you're watching, it's who you're watching it with. His words, not mine, because frankly, I do have standards for what I go see, no matter who I go see it with. Like, I refuse to go see a Minecraft movie because I expected it. I had low expectations of it. Plus, I didn't really get Minecraft as a game. Although, you know what? I could actually re-download it to my Switch right now and open it up. But it would take a while to download. And frankly, I think I need to stop rewatching the Chicken Jockey reactions so much because they are just so wildly insane. Like, which one? Okay. This one is just like, how and why? Huh. I thought I set the Switch audio to... Well, anyway, you saw in there, right? Someone brought a literal, physical, real-life, breathing chicken into a movie theater for this. You see it too, right? Yeah, they brought an actual chicken in there, which... My personal theory for why... For how they did it was I thought they might have passed it off as a service animal at first, which can happen. Because under the Americans with Disabilities Act, if someone says that an animal they are bringing into a space of public accommodation or something like that is a service animal, no matter what lack of markings they lack or anything like that to indicate it, they have to take their word for it. So that was my theory, but no, I've seen extensions of that particular clip where they put it in a bag and got it past the theater ushers. Which, as a former movie theater employee, I have to ask, how did no one either see the bag acting up, moving around in a way that implies that there was a chicken in there, or did someone not hear the chicken make any noise? Seriously, wouldn't someone have noticed that? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it also violated an animal cruelty law of some kind. So, do not try that at home. Well, at the movie theater, I mean. Not only is it probably some form of animal cruelty to stuff it in a bag and bring it into a movie theater and then expose it to the loud noises. There's already a loud, it's already a really high decibel. It's really already a really high volume of noise from just the theater speakers alone for the movie up to that point. But when you throw in how people are literally cheering and throwing popcorn and launching confetti, it really makes me wonder if they really makes you wonder if this is if that's a violation of animal cruelty laws on top of being a public nuisance, disorderly conduct. I actually have a video coming up where I talk more about this, so I will not say anything more. But anyway, the article that I reacted to in today's video also brought up how online dating brings up the paradox or the doublethink because you have to have some kind of desire to go out of your way to create a profile on the dating app. And then people romanticize meet cutes. And again, it all boils down to the idea that you should have a partner but not want one, on which, how does that make sense? Well, what I think they were trying to say, the people who say you shouldn't want one, is you shouldn't make it the center of who you are, which, frankly, I agree with. There's nothing wrong with wanting a partner, but you really shouldn't make that the center of your life. It's like How to Beast said in several of his videos, and while I explain it, I'm going to try tracking down a video where I think he said it. Could take a while for me to find it, but the TLDR is he says that instead of just making dating having a girlfriend, that's the wording he used in his case, because his target audience is men, and that's just his target audience. But anyway, he says that if you look at your life as a cake, then you should make having a partner the icing on the cake. Actually, that was an early draft of the thumbnail before my chat GPT before the chatbots had me came up with better ideas. Yeah, I'm gonna not be able to pinpoint the exact one. Maybe there's a short where he brings it up. Oh, I'm actually curious what this one says. Fat phobia.
Fat phobia. Have you heard of this idea that by promoting things like working out and being healthy, it creates a negative environment for people who are overweight, and we shouldn't do that? We should actually praise the fat bodies. Last time I checked, bro, the #1 cause of death worldwide is cardiovascular disease, and the main causes for cardiovascular disease are things like high fat, lack of physical activity. Now, controversial take, but I think people actually should be pressured to change if they're following a path that's going to be harmful to their future. And that doesn't just go for obese people. That goes for a lot of these weak ass who want to blame all of their problems and shortcomings on women and woke society.
I just realized that the voice isolation works on this as well. That's why the chicken jockey reaction, the audio wasn't playing the way I thought it would be. Okay, I remember this one because he brought up the 48 laws of power. Alright, let's try the chicken jockey again without the voice isolation ruining it. That's more like it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was damaging to the chicken's eardrums somehow. Don't quote me, I am not a veterinarian, so I wouldn't know. All I do know is I think I might be wrapping it up here for the video, for the live stream. Yeah, I think I've made my point of expanding on everything I thought to expand. I should really write down thoughts that come up as I'm editing so that I can bring them up here. So that's going to do it for this live stream. Be sure to drop a like on your way out. And subscribe for daily videos. I'm working on streaming as much as possible. I don't think every single day is a realistic goal, but we'll see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.